Guys, welcome back. Last night I was working on the Space Encounters, and the screen would come up a little bit, and I froze some of these chips down here because these last three were getting extremely hot. So I sprayed some that dust can spray stuff and got these cold, and a little bit of the image would come up onto the screen. So I was going to replace all these, but I don't have the sockets for these. These are a weird size chip. They're not an IC size chip. They're not a big chip. They're between the two. I could take a socket, cut it in half, but I don't want to do that. So I'm going to start with putting these four bottom ones in, and I'm just going to put them directly right back to the board. So these are a pain in the butt to take off these boards. A lot of times you'll end up having to cut the chip off and then slowly taking each leg out of the chip. If not, you'll damage the traces because they are extremely small on this board. It's kind of like the soundboard that I did the other day for Silver Ball, where the solder pads are real small and they're a pain in the butt, and I ended up breaking the chips off the board and then taking my soldering gun one at a time and pulling the legs out from the top side. So first thing I want to do is I want to get this board separated. I can already unplug the two if I want to because it doesn't have all the screws in it, but I want to take those metal plates off just to make it easier for me to work. I don't know if I have a screwdriver in here for this. I'm gonna have to go grab a nut driver real quick. Definitely not fond of working on these boards with these small traces. It really kind of sucks. Okay. Got to make sure that this goes this way. Chips go to the outside. So it was these guys down here that were heating up real bad. Not going to leave the desoldering gun on here for a long period. Just kind of sucking off the little bit that's on the bottom. Probably going to have to cut the chip. it is a pain in the butt to do this. Now if you take your soldering iron, if you had a little Dremel, you can cut along those top edge of those legs, and that would work really good. Usually, by doing it this way, most of the traces are on the bottom of the board. There are a few on the top, but most of them are on the bottom, so you're less likely to ruin the pad doing it this way versus trying to do it all from underneath. Okay, now, to me, to my eye, I have one that looks a little strange. So anything that you can test before you put your chip in is probably the best thing you could do. Because it'd be a heck of a lot easier to fix it now than when you have the chip installed. So I'm going to grab this one here because I know that one goes to here. Okay, that's all good. Everything looks really good on the bottom. You got one hole not cleaned out all the way. Got a leg stuck in that one still. Very good. This very last one does not look cleaned out all the way. That one there. All right, that's one down. Back in there, looks beautiful. Can't really tell that I changed it. I'm gonna do the next 3 off camera, these 3, and then we'll go plug this in and see if we have anything different up here on the screen. If you didn't watch last night's video, go back and watch it and you'll be able to see that. Okay, the first 4 are replaced, so now we can go put it back in and see if we get anything different going on. Now, if you were to replace all 16 of these, it takes me about 10 minutes per chip. So you're looking at 160 minutes, which is almost 3 hours. So I would, realistically, I'd say probably it would take me a good 2 hours to replace all 16 of these. But the first 4 are done because I know that these last couple were getting hot. So I think it was the last 3. So I just went one past it, and let's go plug it in and see what happens. I'm not going to put the angle brackets on. I'm just going to stick this back on carefully. And let's go see what happens. Let's turn this thing on. See if we get anything different going on here. Take a minute for the old monitor to warm up. Okay, still have crap all over the screen. I'm gonna screw with that connector, see if that makes a difference. Okay, so I think before I go any farther, I need to mess with that connector because that's gonna give me better contact on the board, and then we can see what's going on after that, because clearly that connector is a piece of junk, which I said it was. It's this one right here. So now I gotta go see if I have one that we can replace this with. Am I counting that right? It's 17. Yeah, they're just horrible connectors. I don't know if I have something. Okay, I have an 18-pin edge connector that fits on there nice and tight. I put a line so that I know which direction it goes back on. So I'm going to go and replace these wires and switch them over to these pins. I'm not going to video this part, and then I'll come back and we'll plug it back in and see what happens. Okay, plugged it back in, and that's what we have. So next I am going to reflow the solder on all the pins between the two boards where they come together. So all these pins right here, I'm going to resolder. I actually want to go look at them and see if there's a bunch of cold solder joints or not. And these chips are not getting warm, which is a good thing. Looks like we might have some starting. I'm not seeing anything super evident. But it definitely will not hurt to do it. I was kind of hoping some of them would stand out. Maybe the last pin. I don't know, it's tough to say. They don't look horrible. Socket's got all kinds of corrosion in there. I don't know if I have a, yeah, I do have a piece of sandpaper in here. Looking a little better. All right. Just lightly scuffing this down. Okay. Let's see if we get anything different going on. Nothing now. Interesting. Is my switch on? There we go. Darn it. We got some sort of something funky going on with the board. Get it to that stupid screen again. I want to see what it looks like. Can't really get a good look from this little mirror. Come on. What in the world is going on with this thing? Why can't I just get it to position somewhere so I can look at the stupid thing? Oh, this is frustrating. What is that? I'm gonna have to figure out what in the world is going on with this. So next I'm going to repin the rest of the connectors, because when I move the board around, I can get it to almost want to work. So if I take the board and I move it up to here, let's see if I can get it to do it. Oh. So I don't know what, see? Now we have score, high score, time. And if I hold it real steady, so I don't know what's causing that yet. That's going to be a fun one to find. I don't know if it's the wires. I'm hoping that's what it is, because if that's the case, we're getting close. But watch, I'll set this back down. It's got to be the wires. Or something on the boards where they come together. That's why I refloat them. We're narrowing it down. I mean, connectors is going to be the next thing that I can think of, because when I tug on the wires and move the wires around, all of a sudden it starts working. Let me check the wires plugging into the power supply. Wiggling those around with no change. Well, a little bit. I think that's just the screen's flipping on its own. I don't think that's for me, but I could be mistaken. Yeah, see, I'm not touching anything right now, and it's doing that itself. I almost wonder, do I have cold solder joints where those other plugs go? I mean, it is quite possible. Just because once we're going to reflow these pins here, all these guys, see what that does. And then next, I'm going to resocket those connectors that go onto these pins, because clearly we got something that is making contact and losing contact when I move it around. Once again, these all look fine under a magnifying glass, but that doesn't mean anything. think I see a little bit of white corrosion on these pins. We could sand those down. Yep, let me grab the sandpaper. Let's sand those pins down, reflow those real quick, and then plug it back in and see if it does anything different. And then after that, we'll repin the connectors. At least now those ram chips are not getting hot anymore, which is good, because I could not even touch them. I mean, there could be a broken trace on the stupid board somewhere. Which, I mean, it's possible. Doesn't take much. Just seems like it keeps resetting. This one got a little funky. I don't know if that one's making contact. These three are all combined. All right. Plug this back in real quick. That bottom connector is pretty loose. I wouldn't be surprised if that's not the culprit. Probably is. Still garbage. Now it's just nothing. Pretty confident it's that bottom connector, guys. It's that bottom connector. It's gotta be. All right, so that's next on the list. Do the pins on that guy, then see what happens. Okay, I'm gonna repin this little connector first, because you can see this thing is just loosey-goosey. And we'll start from there, see what happens, and work our way up. I'm gonna do it off camera. Okay, the first connector's repinned. I'm gonna plug it in, we'll turn it on, just out of curiosity to see what it does. I think this is the main harness and ground, wire, power and ground. I think these are controls and other things, so we'll see what happens. All right, let's turn it on. Dogs are playing, so if you hear a bunch of barking, you know why. Okay, still got a scrambled screen. Okay, looking a little bit better. Obviously, we have other issues still, but it is not, it's still freaking out a little bit, but not as bad. Okay, when I push on that one, it seems to do a little bit of different things. So I'm gonna go ahead and repin the next one up, and then we'll turn it back on, see what it does. I'm doing one at a time just out of curiosity. I wanna see if I can kind of narrow down where the problem was. Obviously, we're still gonna have other glitches and stuff because we're missing everything in the background still. But if we could just get a stable screen, we can go from there. All right, I'm gonna put the connectors on and turn it on again. All right. See if we have anything different. Looks like the same garbage. Ooh, looks a little bit better. I'm going to grab my multimeter and check the voltages coming out of that power supply real quick. Curious to see where I'm at because I had it adjusted when it was in the shop, but it could be different once I brought it in the house. So let me pause this real quick. I'm at 5.1. Oh wait, that's negative. Hold on. Wrong one. This is a different power supply than I'm used to. .2, I'm way too high. .99. .04. Okay. It really wants wants to do something, guys. See if any of those ram chips are getting hot. None of them are getting hot, which is good. Pushing on the ram chips. I'm going to pin this last connector just so that that is all out of the way. And we know that that's not causing any issues. And then I guess I'll go back to changing out more of the RAM. I mean, it's really all I can do. I don't have any real test equipment to do anything other than that. So I think that's what I'm going to do next is repin that other connector, plug it in, try it one more time, and then replace the rest of the RAM on the lower row, see what happens, and then just maybe replace the upper ones. All right, I ended up replacing all the RAM. I resocketed all those sockets, and I am literally so freaking close. I have either a bad trace or a cold solder joint somewhere on this board. But the RAM replacement completely helped. So here, if I flex this one corner just a little bit, I can get it to come on. Maybe if I can do this here. Come on. Now I can't get it to do it. There it is, right there. There's the damn game. It is literally so freaking close to having it. I just have to figure out what it is. The only thing I can think of is possibly one of the sockets I replaced on the ROM chips, not the RAM, because that's where I'm pushing now. And I think if I can get that fixed, whatever the heck it is, I should be good to go. And then we can start messing with the soundboard and figure out what's going on with that. All right, this is where I currently have it. Now, I still cannot find the cold solder joint or whatever it is. I have the board sitting in there funky and it stays on. I have searched literally for a few hours and cannot find what is broken, where it's broke at. But I was able to credit it up, but I can't start it because I can't find the wiring diagram. It's not in the manual for the control panel, so I don't know whether the fire button is. I don't know if the sound works or not yet because clearly it's I can't start the game. But I'm going to turn it off and back on and see if it goes to regular attract mode, which is just the ship flying around and stuff. Like I said, I have the board sitting in there funky because it's the only way I can get it to work. I have looked and looked and looked. Yep, came right back on. So I'm lost. I don't know. I should probably see if I can widen the picture because it's definitely narrow. I want to see the screen bezel, but it is working. If I can ever figure out what is the problem. Oh boy, that sucks. Everything just fell back there. Awesome. Maybe the screen does not need to go wider because this is going to be in there, which is so beautifully cleaned right now. Boy, that's not looking too hot there. Is it upside down? Might be upside down. Let me wipe this off real quick. Okay, the screen does not need to go wider, but it is really filthy. It looks good on camera, but in person it's kind of blurry because the screen is so filthy. I don't know if I have that in right or not. It might be upside down for all I know. But it is a working PCB. Once I figure out what the short is. Now I have no clue if the sound's going to work yet, but that's okay. We'll get the game up and running, fix the sound afterwards. I don't know if there's another part that goes on the screen. I think there is, but I'm not going to worry about that tonight. I'll somehow figure it out. I don't know how, but it's driving me nuts. So basically what I had to do to get the board working was I had new ROM chips burned. I resocketed all the ROMs. I had to fix 3 broken traces on the bottom of the board. I put all new RAM in it. I repinned all the connectors going to the board itself. And I reflowed a bunch of stuff on the board. So that's where I'm at, and I got it to the point where it works. So once I figure out that, I can get it mounted in there. Then we can get the speaker mounted in there. We can get the control panel cleaned and hooked up, and then figure out if we have sound or not, which I'm thinking we probably don't, but that's okay. Like I said, it could be the amplifier for all I know on there. I don't know. But I'm just happy that it's working. I think that screen's the right way. I'd have to look it up, but I would say that it probably is. But the filth on this thing is ridiculous. What the heck was that? Maybe because it blew up. I don't know if the light flashing unit works or any of that stuff either. I don't know if it works on a tracked mode or not. It plugged it in and it is flashing, but I don't know if that's correct or not. But yeah, I don't know why the wiring diagram is not fully in the manual. That's crazy. Can I get this off with one hand? Well, guys, I'm ending this one. I worked on this thing a lot today. So once I figure out what's wrong with the board, we can move forward. But at least we know that it is going to be a working board. Like I said, it needed a lot of stuff, but it's fixed now. And next will be the control panel. Needs major cleaning and got a lot to do. So thanks everybody for watching. Any questions or comments, feel free to ask. Other than that, I'll see you guys later.